Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. And today we have a hell of a lot to talk about from an absolutely stacked edition of Friday Night SmackDown last night. It is certainly going to be a fun show, and you guys know what I like to say. For a fun show, we need a fun panel. And let's kick things off with the Tuesday Night Delight. You could say 4 days late or 3 days early. How are you today, Shad?
Glass half empty, half full type of logic on that. I like it. I'm good, bro. It is definitely a eventful week for the WWE post Mania. Raw and SmackDown were absolutely jam packed this week, and I'm super excited to talk about SmackDown. Yeah, so let's get into it, man.
Absolutely. It's a fun show to discuss, no doubt about it. Numero one's in the chat. Shout out to you. Fernando's in the chat as well. I hope you're both having a fantastic Saturday afternoon. But also joining us, we have Archie Carter. How are you, Archie?
I'm doing all right, thanks, mate. It's good to be back. Obviously, been quite a chaotic week with Mania and quite a few other stuff, but I'm happy to be back and to talk about the third after Mania show, wasn't it? Because we had Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and it was a stacked SmackDown, as you said. So yeah, let's get into the review.
Absolutely. A chaotic week, I think, would be an understatement. It has just been the most
I've
bizarre week ever.
Lost a lot of sleep.
But so just, I think, I don't know. I think Clark would blame it on Mercury. What's it?
Retrograde?
Mercury retrograde? Yeah, I don't know if that's
it's
happening
the
right now,
retrograde.
but wouldn't
I don't know.
surprise me
I
if
don't
it
know
was.
if it's happening right now either. I mean, truth be told, I don't believe any of that stuff. So, but
Nor do
that's
I,
me.
but
Don't even know what you're talking about.
if somebody told me right now it was happening, I might become a believer in it because honestly, It's been just so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Say the F Word podcast says, what's up, guys? What's up to you as well? We got Bobby Batito in the comments as well. Shout out to you, Bobby. We have Miss Fuller in the comments as well. Hope you're having a great day. But out of the gates, I want to talk about the promo last night, that promo battle, a heel John Cena and a babyface Randy Orton. I was watching this and I was like, honestly, talk about a Mercury retrograde. I don't know if we've accidentally fallen into another dimension. This was just, Randy Orton was lecturing John Cena on being a good guy. He was telling him, you need to have kids, they'll make you good again. And John Cena wasn't having any of it. It was crazy. But I loved it. Shad, I want to go to you out the gates. What did you think of this promo battle for the ages?
Oh my goodness, this was a sensational back and forth between two guys who are, top 10 of all time talents in the WWE. Two guys that you can argue are on the Mount Rushmore for people. This was one of them ones, and like you mentioned, man, I love the fact that we had the roles reversed. Obviously, Randy, in my opinion, is one of the best heels of all time in professional wrestling. There's just, moments of his career where he's really tapped into such a devious bag, and we know and love him for that. And on the flip side, John Cena is just notorious as the best babyface of all time to people, right? So for us to get Randy this side, lecturing him, like you said, me being a new father, hearing you need to, having kids, that's going to change your life. That's going to make you a better man. More or less telling John that you need to kind of, snap back into it. You've done so much good, especially for what he's done with Make-A-Wish. Maybe that can be the change. And then John flipping back with the rebuttal saying that I've been the father for all of these kids in the arena for 25 years, pointing at another kid, calling him a spoiled brat, and then eventually setting up to this match at Backlash where it's going to be in St. Louis. This is great. Like, these are just two veterans, two legends giving us the greatest hits of what we know that they're great. Obviously, we've seen this feud happen many, many times in their historic careers, but for it to come this side, it's so fresh and it's so new. And it's just the fact that we are getting this, like y'all said, 25 years later. These are guys that came up together from an OVW class and whatnot to where they are as legends. The Legend Killer is a legend now, right? It's crazy to see. And this is what I'm good with, because I know a lot of the conversation with Cena on this retirement tour is that, we want to have him go through series of matches, potentially putting people over, going against young competitors. But I don't think it's a bad idea giving us some greatest hits, stuff that we can sink our teeth in, stuff that we grew to love John Cena for against some of his best rivals. And the other thing I have to put out there is that I know we've had huge criticism towards Cena last week at Mania in regards to the main event. I'm on the side where I agree it didn't live up to expectations, but it is what it is. Y'all got to kind of tone it down a little bit, to be honest with you, because this is the last run we are getting of John Cena. This is a new character we're getting of John Cena. And damn it, I might sound like a hypocrite, but sometimes the match quality doesn't always matter, especially in the WWE. The story is overpowering everything. And if he gives us great stories, great moments, and he takes us on this ride, then we got to appreciate it. Because guess what? When the clock strikes midnight, we're not going to get it again. So appreciate the moment. I appreciate everything last night.
Very good point indeed, Shad. I really can't disagree with you there at all, really, on any of it. And I do agree as well when it comes to match quality, especially with Randy Orton and John Cena together. It's not about that, right? I do think the mainly a main event is maybe a different topic. But yeah, I do agree. At the end of the day, the story is very, very fun. We got Brett over in the comments on Instagram as well. Shout out to you. But Shad, the other thing I wanted to ask you is, some people are saying that Cena's performance, it kind of feels like he's faking being a heel a little bit. Are you feeling that way at all?
I mean, these guys are actors at the end of the day, so of course we know it's not going to be who he truthfully is. But
Of course not, yeah.
But no, I personally really like the tone of voice he uses. I love the over exaggeration towards stuff. I love how he talks, where he's just so loud and, do you see what these people are doing? Like that type of tone. It plays so well. And it's literally like, we can now know this is what heel John Cena is. When we go back in the history books, we're gonna be like, remember when he was like this? Like, it's similar like when Hollywood Hulk Hogan came out in the black and white, came out with the Jimi Hendrix riff and it being a darker, cooler vibe to it. Not the, ripping his shirt, blue, white meat baby face. It's kind of like that. Like, you're going to go back and be like, yo, this is John Cena for it. So I like it. I personally don't mind it. I think it plays its part very well.
I mean, fair enough on that one. And yeah, I do agree, especially when he gets loud. That is him at his best in this role.
And the thing is this, though. John Cena, the promo exchanges he's had from the Cody, even to what we had last night with Randy, nothing has missed in regards to what he does. And that's going back and forth in rebuttals, being able to get you back with a line. You dish a line, I can take that, twist it up, and dish it back at you. Like, that hasn't changed. It's just in a different tone and a different style now.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is true as well. And now he really can let loose and he's not going to have to worry about the backlash because it's his role to destroy people as a heel. So that is a great point. No doubt about it. I just think, when it gets to the heated up part of the segments, he is so good at it. Like your point, when he's shouting, when he's getting frustrated, when him and Randy were having a promo battle. But the first few minutes of that segment last night, when he was out there and he started talking to the crowd, he was trying, I could see it. He was trying not to laugh. And that's a little bit where I'm like, come on.
Randy broke a bit, I think, as well. And when he said, that kid's giving me the middle finger.
He just, a couple of times during it, I did think this just feels awfully. It's so funny, but it does just seem like bad acting, unfortunately. But then other times during the segment, it was phenomenal acting. It's really difficult to do. It's, uncharted territory or whatever they want to say. But Archie, I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so I do agree that maybe this kind of heel Cena is quite over the top. It feels to me as if what if PG era Cena turned heel in my opinion. Like this it's he's still kind of in that PG era kind of way of talking and cutting promos, but kind of in a heel way, if that makes sense. But I think it works, to be honest. Like the kind of over the top, kind of loud shouting, kind of aggressiveness that I guess you can't really take. Like he doesn't scare me as a heel. Like he kind of makes me laugh in a way. But I've been enjoying his heel run, and it works. Honestly, this kind of over the top kind of heel stuff. The stuff with Orton was fantastic. I mean, these two are like whether you love their rivalry or hate their rivalry, it is a very long rivalry. It has kind of defined certain eras of both of these guys' careers. So it's a very important rivalry for both of them, and they should be fighting one more time before Cena retires. If I'm being honest, I did have the feeling before that I kind of want to see this heel Cena until he retires. But before I say what I'm going to say, I completely respect Cena for in his farewell tour not going out. He could have easily just gone out there, played his greatest hits, and everyone would have been fine with it. But Cena's trying to push the boat, and he's saying, you know what, let's try something new, let's try something different, which is great to see, and I admire him for that. I don't think this heel run should stay past SummerSlam. I think Cody should win the title back at SummerSlam in this kind of Return of the Jedi sort of situation. And then we get Cena and the fans kind of getting back together. And we kind of get face Cena for the rest of this run. I just think this heel Cena, while I'm enjoying the kind of little elements to it where he's wrestling a slower style, he's these kind of different promo styles, I guess, in a way. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I don't know if they're going to be able to drag it all the way out for this whole farewell tour. I think it's something that needs to stay. Maybe needs to go maybe around SummerSlam time. I could be wrong, and I'm not bored of it yet. I just don't know. I just can't see myself being interested for this whole farewell tour. And again, it's a new wrestling style that he's trying out. This is like a much slower kind of wrestling style that I guess he's used to. So along with ring rust kind of being brushed off, he's having to learn a new style as well, which is going to take some time. So look, I've been really enjoying this heel run. I just think maybe it shouldn't go past SummerSlam, and we should be getting a face Cena maybe at least a few months before he hangs up his boots, I think.
Yeah, well, I do completely agree with you, but to just play devil's advocate on that one point,
Right. Yeah.
Here's the thing: there was like 3 months until SummerSlam. Is a heel Cena run going to be that short? And also, we won't properly get like I don't know exactly the word, like the feeling the nerves coming up on us that timer is running down. Like that's the argument, I guess, for not turning him back face again. You can have that clock run down to 1, and on the final day, on the final date, you can have that title on the line, and it literally comes down to, is he going to lose it? Is he going to win it? We're going to find out.
But here's the thing with that, though, is that fans right now, they're very split between let's go Cena sucks. I don't think when we're getting to these final dates, these fans should be booing the hell out of Cena. Like they should be thinking, right, this is getting a bit close now. This is getting a bit close. We need Cena to lose the title so he doesn't leave with it. I don't think fans are going to do that. I think it's going to be very split all the way through this heel run, and I think that kind of dramatic last gasp, is he gonna lose it? I think it kind of loses that magic when the fans are split, where half of them want him to retire with the title and want him to retire with the WWE Championship's lineage. So, but I do actually love the whole kind of storyline that it's a bit like Thanos, like with the snap that he said.
Light bulb just struck.
Go on, Shad.
Go for it.
If it goes to the last second, You know who needs to beat him for the title? It has to be Punk.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Oh,
Punk.
Money in the Bank.
That'd be so good.
That's got to be it. Oh my goodness! Now I'm kind of thinking it might be it.
Well, if his last match is in Boston, that's a really, really good roles reverse kind of situation where now Punk's being the one to try and stop Cena from leaving his hometown with the title and trying to kind of ruin the reputation of this company.
We need to send this. We need to send
Punk
this
trying to
clip
stop
of the
him
pod
from
and
doing
send it to them.
At Triple H.
Yeah, at Triple H. Pivot.
We won't use the word pivot, but please pivot and do this instead. But no, I really love that idea. Yeah. I really, really do. I mean, I get it as well that, you know, people do want to see a face Cena to say bye to him, but maybe the Hall of Fame could be that opportunity. Maybe it doesn't actually have to be in a wrestling ring.
No. Well, is there also the potential possibility that his last match isn't actually his last match? Where the one in Boston...
He's promising on everything to everybody under the sun.
Right, okay.
It's
just a kind of thing to throw out there. I didn't know if maybe the real last match would be at WrestleMania 42 or something like that. But no, I personally...
I hate it if they do that, though, because he literally said that this was his last... Mania. That is the nuance of that being the main event too. You know.
Then again, that goes against everything he said, though. To be fair, as well. So, but I do think, I do want, as a lifelong Cena fan, I'm one of those kids that he was talking about, kind of growing up and kind of idolizing him and going on in my everyday life, seeing how Cena kind of carried himself. I do want to kind of cheer for him. I do want to cheer for him. Right now, I'm not cheering for him because you're not supposed to cheer for him. But I do want to cheer for him one last time as a face. So selfishly, I would like to see him as a face again. But I don't know how they're going to get to that situation because I do feel like what they're doing is what you guys are saying, which they're going to take it right down to the last minute.
Jordy must have not gotten that memo, huh?
What was that?
Jordy must have not gotten the memo that we're not supposed to cheer for him.
that he got lost in the post. You know, he did message Cena asking how he was, right? So Cena obviously we know isn't talking about Jordy. That was clear from the start.
Well, I mean, but he didn't see the message. Well, he might have just aired the message, Jordy. Jordy, he's broken up with you. Just move on, move on, Jordy. He broke up with you. Move on.
Jordy, you have a great wife at home. You don't need to
Oh gosh, yeah. Don't leave DCX Warlord, Jordy. That'll make sense to nobody other than the people who are watching the podcast on Tuesday or when it was. Numero 1 says, I'm thinking, this is interesting. Perhaps there could be a double turn where we finally get Homelander Cody, and that's how he beats Cena, and that's how Cena ends up face again.
When was the last time we got a double turn? Was it Brett and Austin? Was that the last kind of really well done double turn? I feel like this is one of those situations where it can be done perfectly because fans are booing Cody. I feel like some fans are cheering for him, but they're looking for a reason to boo him. It could be done really well, but I mean, if the Rock gets involved again, I'm not interested.
The Rock is going to get involved again. I mean, that's the thing, right? Why I think Cena's retiring in December. I think Cena and everybody involved, I think WWE too, not just Cena, wants Cena's retirement to be a focal point of an event. And at WrestleMania, it would not be the focal point of WrestleMania because WrestleMania is the focal point of WrestleMania. So if you do it at a December event, then it really just is. That is what the event is. That is the attraction. So you can sell tons of tickets and Cena gets a moment.
Can you read Fernando Zayas' comment?
HBK promised to retire for good before coming back at Saudi.
Those are the wrestlers that Cena's talking about.
That is true. I mean, when the money comes up, I do think.
Wait, what do you mean? HBK wrestled in Saudi? I don't remember that.
Never happened. Never happened.
Undertaker was his last match.
I do also think the money's a factor. Where, like, I think even if Cena's offered what Saudi would offer him, I don't think that would change his mind because his bank account has that many zeros compared to, you know, Sean obviously has a lot of money too, but even still, like, in comparison,
Cena's money is way more.
Yeah.
He barely has time to show up now. So I mean, he's gonna. He's not gonna be able to show up for one more match that he doesn't want to have.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah.
Randy versus Cena is the modern Rock and Austin. I mean, yeah, good shout, to be honest, especially for, Archie, our generation. That was the big match over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Bobby's looking forward to it. Numero one saying, wasn't PG Cena a heel? I mean, he did have some heelish tendencies, but no, he still was a babyface.
That challenging Ray for the WWE Championship. Social media has poisoned your mind with that. That video is not real. That's not how it went down. That fast video.
Yeah, that's true. They
made it look like Cena beat him with a leg drop or something.
But it's, in all seriousness, it isn't, basically the idea was Vince wanted to, get fans to root for Cena. So he was trying to make him not a fully fleshed babyface and have a little bit of edge to him. But, I don't.
What a great Vince move. Another fantastic move from Vince.
I mean, they tried it with Roman and it didn't work either. But up next, let's talk about something which has made a lot of people happy. Zelina Vega is the new United States champion, the new women's United States champion. Congratulations to her. Deserved is an understatement. Fantastic. Really has put in the work for it. Here's the thing. I think it is completely and utterly the wrong move. Chelsea Green deserved a longer reign with the championship. I think she's going to get a longer reign with the championship because I now think she's just going to win it back in a few weeks' time. I think this title change is completely and utterly pointless. I'm sorry, Zelina. You're great. You're fantastic in the ring and you deserve a championship run. But this is not the time and this is not the how. Shad, what are your thoughts?
Man, I just think the mid-card title picture has been booked so putrid, to be honest with you. So, I don't disagree with you because I can argue Chelsea Green has had one of the most head-scratching title reigns out of all the champions on the roster. I've seen her lose numerous times as champion throughout the entire reign. I saw her lose to Zelina Vega prior to losing the title to it, right? So it comes to a point where a lot of it doesn't make sense. This is nothing against Zelina Vega. This is well-deserved for a talent who really busted her ass in the WWE, has gotten over with fans just naturally of how much people like her. That moment, obviously, that she had with Rhea in Puerto Rico at Backlash, stuff like that doesn't go unnoticed. But to your point, Zelina hasn't really been booked prominently since that moment. She's kind of been a manager for the LWO, and she's kind of been in impromptu matches and feuds. The whole storyline between her and Chelsea hasn't been captivating. The U.S. title has not been captivating. Chelsea Green, the character, is entertaining. She is over. She is captivating. Chelsea Green, the champion, is not captivating at all. My hope is this. We need to go to the well ASAP. The well is NXT. I'm sorry. Jordan Grace, Roxanne Perez, Julia, Vaquer, one of y'all, bring them to SmackDown and put a title on a real star. All right? That's the issue with the main roster. The mid-card picture feels empty. It doesn't feel desirable. We need to share the wealth that is NXT into these main rosters, and you need to put it on a real champion. I don't, maybe I'm sounding harsh on that behalf, but it is what it is. I can't take either of these women last night serious as champion when I know that there's people on the NXT roster that are way more desirable as champ. When there's women on SmackDown like a Naomi, a Jade Cargill, a Nia Jax, that could even be more desirable as champion. So to your point, yeah, maybe Chelsea didn't deserve to lose. I don't disagree with that. Maybe Zelina's moment is just Zelina's moment, and that's whatever, But honestly, I don't want to see either of them as champion. They ain't doing nothing for me. And more importantly, Jordy's a fan of both of them, which makes them 2 thumbs down.
I'm going to argue with your point, though, to be honest, Shad, right? Rare time I do disagree with you on this, because if we had a Michin, a Chelsea Green, a Zelina Vega down in NXT, I think we'd be saying, call these people up. They'd, really
Yeah.
help the main roster. They'd be fantastic additions. I think perception is 9/10 of the game here. And I think if we call up a lot of these people from NXT, I think they're going to be in the exact same situation. I don't think it's the talent. I think it's the booking around it.
For sure, it is the booking, to your point, but I also do think that I don't want to. I feel bad if I to tell someone they aren't as talented as the other person. To be honest with you, because it comes off very harsh and it comes off brash. But I mean, we had Mia Yim on NXT, and she didn't look like she rose above the women that she went against in the development brand. Jada Parker looked like the bigger star.
No, I agree with that.
She looked like a good dance partner, but Jada Parker looked like the bigger star.
Yeah, I agree. I think coming out of that, she's having bangers, but coming out of that, I'm thinking, well, I really want to see Jada Parker on the main roster. I wasn't thinking. I want to see Michin kind of. This is getting really harsh because I love Michin.
That's why me and Archie. This is why you let us talk about NXT every Tuesday on the podcast and on the. Look, man, gloves are off, man. Forget about it. I'm sorry, dude. There's a disparity between the women that I named and the women that you named. I'm sorry, bro. It is what it is.
I honestly
don't know. We're talking about Jordan
Zelina
Grace.
Vega's the one who I say probably is maybe a step below, but I do believe in the last year or two she has improved so much that I do reckon now if she went down to NXT, she would actually be levels above quite a few of these ladies.
Zelina deserves a chance for this title. She's never been given the ball to drop it or to run with it, right? So she deserves that chance, and she, in my opinion, she is. I'm not wanting to sound like Geordie here. I've only got the mustache. That's the only comparison I've got to Geordie. But she's one of the most underrated women wrestlers on the mic. She's improved a lot in the ring. But I do agree with Shad that if you bring someone up like Jordan Grace, then that can help establish that title even further. And you don't.
I think is above all these three, by the way. I want to make that.
But you don't.
We saw Stephanie as soon as
I agree with Stephanie and Julia. Those three, I'd say about.
We're in dangerous territory right now of having to bring down Jade or Naomi back down to the mid card division when we don't want to do that. They are fully, certified main eventers, like in the main event scene with the women's division now. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
But the thing is this: how both mid card titles, like I even said it when we did the tournament, Io should have arguably maybe been the IC title because that would have established the champ. Now Io eventually become the world champ, which works in her favor, but
a lot better,
the belt has to be established. Like look, you think about it's not a topic, but you think about last night, the US title. Fatu is such a star that we're teasing Drew McIntyre against him. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Drew is on the main card, but we're just like, well, Drew and Jacob is a match that could potentially put a lot of butts in seats.
Yeah.
Those are the type of situations.
No, that is true. That is true. But there is another issue which we haven't gotten to.
But to me, to that point, a Jordan Grace is very similar to a Jacob Fatu for the women's division.
100%. Yeah.
Come on,
true.
bro.
But I also think Chelsea Green is just as over. There is a big issue we have.
She's over, but her character is a
but you have to.
But
her character doesn't justify someone like a Naomi or a Jade Cargill coming down to the mid-card division to face her. If you had a Jordan Grace being a dominant champion, then it would be justifiable for Naomi or Jade Cargill to be like, you know what, I want to try and ruin this title reign. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
I get the point, I do. But I do want to bring up this one thing because we do have one thing which we haven't touched upon, which is a huge issue.
Yeah.
And that is, there is a faction, a stable called the Green Regime. There is also a tag team called the Secret Service. They now both need renaming unless Chelsea Green's winning this belt back, which is why I reckon she's winning it back in like a week or two.
But what it like, honestly, and that's my issue. This woman has taken so many losses with having a heater, with having an entire faction. Yeah. How am I supposed to arguably believe that Zelina Vega is the one to beat her with all
she got squashed by Zelina like in 3 or 4 minutes like last week.
I don't get it. It doesn't make this. I'm not trying to bash Zelina Vega because Zelina Vega is so such a good talent, but
Mhm.
it doesn't really make me believe the story that she is the one to beat them because she's never been positioned to that. Now, if
No.
you would have
You're right.
called up
You're
a
right.
Jordan
Yeah.
Grace and went ahead and house Piper, house I'm about to call her Kaylee Ray, Alba Fire,
Yeah.
and then beat Chelsea Green. One, that makes Jordan Grace look like an absolute beast because we
Yeah.
believe it, knowing how much of a beast she is and beating through two women, especially a powerhouse like Piper in the process.
Yeah.
And then she beats the heel champion and she looks like a big, strong baby face. To your point, yeah, we're starting to do a lot of hot potatoing around with these belts.
No, we are.
Yeah,
We are.
we
And
are.
it's becoming an issue for sure. But I do want to read out some of these comments before we move on.
Mhm.
First things first, Clark is in the comments. Shout out Clark. And he's saying they've got the daily on in the groom suite for the wedding party. Congratulations to the groom. Shout out to everybody
Congratulations.
watching.
Congratulations, guys.
Marriage is a great thing, bro. Enjoy it.
We got Numo one saying congrats to Zelina for winning. Her next feud should still be with Chelsea. But this time Chelsea uses power of the people to get an opportunity. That would be, I mean, interesting for sure. DCX says Drew is definitely dethroning Jacob to become a Grand Slam champion. Would love to see that either way, no matter who wins. And Naomi should get the US strap, says Fernando.
Yes.
I would be all for
Yes.
that. Nah,
Naomi-
not the women's title, Shad. You don't want to win the WWE women's title.
No, either or. I think Naomi would be a great look. Naomi to me is probably that the women's stuff with Tiffany and Jade moved me a lot last night. I was like, wow, I'm watching two chiseled statues wrestle each other. This is crazy. It's like two Greek goddesses going against each other. It was dope to see. But then Naomi coming out. Naomi's work right now as a heel is like top notch. She could win every belt she wants to.
Yeah. I just feel like she's past the mid card.
Yeah, fair enough. But we are going to have to just breathe through this next topic to get to the main one. But Archie, how great was that TLC main event?
It was absolutely outstanding. These are 6 guys that got absolutely robbed of a WrestleMania opportunity, and they went out there and firstly, I'm happy WWE made it commercial free, advert free, because it allowed them freedom to have a premium live event match, a WrestleMania type match. This is one of the best tables, ladders, and chairs matches I've ever seen in my time watching wrestling. I didn't think that they could get as innovative as they did. I mean, that blockbuster Montez Ford did to the outside was just exceptional, and so many other incredible moments. I love the callback to the first triangle ladder match where Edge speared Jeff Hardy, but this time Dawkins did it through a table. It was a brilliant match. I absolutely loved it. The Profits winning, I'm really happy about because I'm kind of sick of the hot potatoing in the tag team division. But now this kind of story is kind of finished. I want to know kind of where we go with this. Where do we go with Motor City? Where do we go with DIY? There's a lot of questions to be asked this. And I think if I'm talking personally, I think they need to split up DIY. I think they need to let Ciampa and Gargano go their separate ways now and do their own thing in a singles capacity. I think both the Raw and SmackDown mid-card division could use them perfectly. And I don't think the tag team division needs them now with Fraxium on SmackDown.
Big statement, and fair enough. I just don't know. Again, we talk about time-wise all the time. There is just so much, there's so little time for so many guys. But as we saw in NXT, they are great singles competitors. Bobby Petito says that he hopes we still see the Yes Boys, my boys, Pretty Deadly on SmackDown again soon, or drafted to Raw. DCX Warlord says Fraxium versus Street Profits at Backlash would be fire. Personally, I'd hold back on it. I'd say SummerSlam for that. I'd really build it up. Give Fraxium the momentum. And then
Street Profits are treading water as a Hall of Fame tag team. And they're definitely in the top 10 tag teams of all time in WWE history.
Yeah, they're definitely a Hall of Fame tag team. I think.
Wow.
I think, yeah, I 100% think so. I just hope with Fraxium on SmackDown, I hope that they book them still as strong so they can keep their reputation as the best tag team in the world, because NXT and HBK did a lot of work to help do that. So, and they did as well. And they did as well.
Don't undo it, Triple H. Don't pivot from HBK's plan. Numero one says it should have been WrestleMania. Undoubtedly.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%,
that's just
100%.
without, a doubt. But let's get on to the topic everybody's wanted to talk about. Aleister Black, because last night, after 5 years away, he made his return to WWE. He had his NXT entrance. He had his theme. It was absolutely fantastic. He took out Miz. Some people aren't happy about that. They feel like it could have and should have been a bigger star. But Archie, I'll go to you first.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
I'm so happy to see Aleister Black back in WWE. I'm so happy to see him return. When I heard Root of All Evil start playing, I literally stood up out of my seat watching SmackDown. I'm a massive Aleister Black fan, all the way back to Black and Gold days. And I thought this was a fantastic debut, honestly. I thought his presentation was awesome. It's not a different or unusual presentation that we've seen from Aleister in the past in WWE. But they didn't need to change it because his entrance is phenomenal. Like, it reminds me of The Undertaker, where although The Undertaker's entrance is really long, like the kind of aura around it and the kind of stature of it makes it so you can't take your eyes off The Undertaker, and you can't take your eyes off his entrance. And Aleister Black's entrance has that same effect for me. And it's really cool to see, like, kind of new fans, new wrestling fans see Aleister Black's entrance for the first time and see how cool it is. Because he's a guy that a lot more people need to kind of discover, because he is just so cool. I didn't have a problem with him attacking The Miz. I think The Miz is actually a great first opponent for Aleister Black. I think The Miz is severely underrated. He doesn't get enough credit from wrestling fans. And this is a feud that can transition into a Carmelo Hayes feud with Aleister Black as well, which is really exciting for me. So yeah, I'm really happy to see Aleister Black make his return back home where he belongs. And I'm going to make a bit of a statement here. I know he's just won the title. I think Aleister should be the one to beat Jacob Fatu for the United States title. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I don't think Jacob needs a dominant run with this United States Championship. I think having this title under his belt, it was the right decision. But I honestly wouldn't give him a very long run. I'd let Aleister Black beat him through Solo Sikoa costing him or whatever. And then you just put him into the main event scene straight away, because he's that kind of talent that he shouldn't be holding the US title for long. He should be 2-3 months max, really. And then I think you should be pushing him into the main event scene straight away after that. He's that good. You should not be wasting any time with Jacob Fatu. You're muted.
Whoops. He is only 33 as well, Jacob Fatu. Like, he really does have time left on his side. So if you want to just push him into that main event scene, you could do that, undoubtedly. And Shad, my question for you is twofold. One, the exact same question I asked Archie. What is your thoughts on the return? But secondly, do you think he's going to win a WWE or World Championship in WWE, or is it just going to be like a mid-card one, if that?
I thought the presentation was phenomenal. I thought that them going back to what Archie said, NXT theme song, NXT entrance, they knocked it out the park. It seems like him and Rusev both had very similar routes on the return, kind of going against a very, disposable opponent, to say the very least, with the Alpha Academy with Rusev, and then the Miz with Aleister. And, you build some wins for him and kind of position him back up. I don't know, man. It really all depends on how the main event scene looks like. Now, if Cody Rhodes was still champion, well, then I think we could possibly revisit a feud that we saw back in AEW, a Cody Rhodes and a Malachi Black. But it's John Cena. I don't think John Cena and him will feud out the gate. I think he is going to have a strong hold on the mid-card booking. And I mean, it's very well, it really depends how over and how much the fans want him to really be in that card. Obviously, for the time being, yes, there is a lot of excitement for him because everybody loves when people are moving from company to company. And obviously, there is a big war happening right now. Those WWE super fans versus those AEW super fans. And it's NFL draft weekend, Ben. The Jaguars just took Travis Hunter. And apparently, the biggest news from last night that I heard from the stands is that Tony Khan was in the field running with the football and he fumbled. He fumbled a football called Aleister Black, Malachi Black. Come on. What we doing here, y'all? Let me just say something real quick to y'all. These Tony fumble chants that I hear consistently. All right? Cool. Ricky Saints, I get it, right? Ethan Page, all that NXT stuff, I get it. You know, these guys were on AEW, now they're in the WWE, and we're seeing this. Malachi Black got fumbled by the WWE first. Okay? They called him up to the main roster. They let him hit a black mass on Big E, and then they said, oh, sayonara, bucko. You're not on here no more. I don't know what happened. He was gone, right? So there is no fumbling, all right? I thought he was booked perfectly fine in AEW. Maybe he didn't hit the strides that we thought he could be. The Aleister Black, Malachi Black notion is that there is a lot of potential in it. And I'm very curious to see if they can finally capture this potential that the fans and people think it's going to be. Because that's the main key aspect of it. Because to me, a lot of it was big time. The presentation with the House of Black, all of that looked good. And then it fizzled out. And then we didn't see much of it. I hope this isn't the same case. I think there's a strong possibility where he can make success here. I know him and Hunter have a very close relationship. And his booking in NXT was superb. So I'm not writing him off. I do feel like he can do it. But it is waiting to see. But y'all, let's not keep these Tony fumble chants. That's not even fair to the man. Be happy that he's back in the wrestling ring. Stop making this a whole tribal warfare because it's stupid.
Honestly, fair enough, and I do agree on that point. You've actually switched my opinion on it slightly because I thought that's the one guy who I do believe Tony Khan did fumble out of everybody. But you are right. WWE fumbled him first.
I just want to say something quick. Is that I don't. Look, I'm a massive Aleister Black fan, but when he made his AEW debut, I was excited. But in the back of my head, and I've always thought this, I never thought Aleister Black and AEW were a perfect fit. Far from it. I always thought he would find his best work and he would find his best potential. His highest ceiling was always in WWE. And I feel like right now in this kind of era where they're putting a lot of emphasis on production and kind of presentation of wrestlers, we know how much Triple H knows how much a presentation matters to a wrestler. I wouldn't rule out Aleister Black being a big hit with the fans, and I don't know if he'll win a world title, but you can't rule it out. Honestly, I just think
rule it out.
I just think AEW and Aleister Black were never a perfect fit from the get go, and that's nobody's fault. But now he's back where he belongs, back home, and I'm excited to see what he does.
I will rule it out. If he was 5 years younger, I'd say maybe.
Oh, God.
I mean, I'm not bringing up the age thing for a reason now, right? But there's so many, stars they have in there. I don't think they're going to spend time building him into a main event star at 40. I just don't, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
There's a 50-year-old man who's the world champ right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's John Cena, to be fair.
I mean, and also, I think he's like 46, isn't he, as well? But even still, I can't see it. I hope I'm wrong, though, because I'm a massive Malachi Black, Aleister Black fan. I want to quickly read out the comments before we wrap things up here. Bobby Batista says Aleister Black versus Drew McIntyre would be awesome, too. Yeah. Archie, you said Aleister Black could be over with the WWE fans. You're over at this wedding right now. There were Archie chants going on.
What's going on there?
Archie's more over than the groom at his own wedding. Bobby Matito says one day Buddy Matthews will come back to WWE to be Buddy Murphy. And Clark saying, hey, you said Fatu is 33 and has plenty of time. He does, right?
That's because
When
Mark is 33.
Oh, right. But he does. That's like 15 years left in the maybe 10 or 15 years left in the wrestling business.
A couple months older than me. He's born in the same year as me, so.
But yeah, I do think the future's bright for everybody involved. But for Aleister Black, I don't even think he needs a world title because I think his aura and all of that, he can do his own thing and do his own thing fantastically without one. But it's in the mid card. Thank you to Archie and thank you to Shad for joining me here today. It's been a really, really fun show, and thank you to all the comments throughout. DCX Warlord wants Aleister Black versus John Cena at SummerSlam. That would be great. Thank you, guys. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow for the quiz. Soul versus David, King and Queen of the Quiz semi-final. It all comes down to this. Who will be going to the final in May? Watch live tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Have a fantastic Saturday night, everybody. Peace.